So I should probably explain this before we go too far. I'm not a YouTuber. I don't know what I'm doing with any of this equipment. I'm planning a paddle, a sea kayak from Clairview to Mackay, about 320 kilometres through the Northumberland Islands. And I figured I'd give it a go at documenting it. And I've kind of done that before, but in a very basic, crappy way. It just seems like the sort of thing I guess people do these days. Maybe someone will enjoy it more than my other videos. Obligatory road trip description. Here we are. I'm just heading down to Mackay this morning. Probably the last one of these I'm going to get for a while, maybe the second last. So quick little stop here at Proserpine. From Mackay, a friend of mine's kindly going to drive me the last hour and a half down to Clairview, where I'll spend tonight, with the plan to launch at about 4:30 tomorrow. Fairly early start. It's always a little bit, as much as I've done these sort of trips, there's always a little bit of trepidation or nerves, I think, just before you actually get out in the water especially. It seems to calm down once you're out there, or I find it does after the first half hour, an hour, but all the what ifs, once you're actually committed, you have everything you can have and you just deal with it. You're in the moment, it's great, but at this stage it's like, how will it be? Will it be cold getting up at 3:30 tomorrow? Will the waves and currents do what I thought they'll do? Will anything go wrong? Will I find it? But yeah, I think the prep's all there. All the junk's loaded in the back there, the kayak's on the roof. Yeah, should be a crazy day today, and very early to bed, up in the morning. So yeah. Okay, I don't think you're going to see much. It's still a little bit dark. I think about an hour and a half in so far. Just gone past behind me there, Roundish Island. Lots of little islands out here. Passing, it's a bit better now, got a little bit of light. I can actually kind of navigate a bit better with all this cloud. It's the easiest in the dark. Conditions pretty good, a little bit of rain, tiny bit of chop, nothing crazy. We're still pretty protected here, so interesting to see. Also the tide's starting to pick up, so as that picks up, potentially get out a little bit further, see what happens. But I'm going to have some breakfast now and some no-dos for Neil. Right on. Okay, check out the sunrise. Flatish Island, just about to go past, and beyond that you should be able to see on the horizon my destination for today, Poynter Island. Going alright, bit of current, which is great for a loaded boat. Conditions are not too bad on the beam, maybe 12 knots or something like that. I hate flat water, so this is nice. This is easy, just gives a little bit of texture to play with, nothing to worry about. It'd be nice if it was going with me, but you can't have everything. Tomorrow's the day that may suck a bit more, but turns out it's forecast. It could be another 5 knots and straight up. One thing we do up here, of course, is we take our sun protection very seriously. Sunscreen I use zinc here for the little patches that are exposed, but overall it's been covered up, so the hat will go on after this. I'll pull up my little shield and it builds up, especially day after day, so yeah, we dress pretty seriously, mate. Alright, so Poynter Island. Not very good lighting from this angle, but this will be my stopping island. I've got to go around to the opposite side. We're going to be on the lee side coming in. So I want to get in close to the rocks and hopefully just get a little bit of squiz of the island, but we're going around to the left. lovely. Would you look at that? Huh. Stone curly, proper curly. Yeah, you don't see them a lot. It's alright, buddy. I was kind of hoping to use the hammock tonight, and there are a few good spots further down, but this is probably a better spot for the kayak. I can wheel it up without too many rocks or a steep slope, so decided to set up down here, which means the tent's the better option. Good to have both. Now, one thing when the ground's a bit loose, you can get a stake in here, but it doesn't hold very well. This sort of scree, pebbly rock. Same with down the sand. So, bit of a trick that anyone who's been in the snow has likely picked up. If it had stopped falling in on itself, of course. Is tie your line to the centre of the peg, down horizontal. Pull it all back in. That's called a Deadman's, and that should be solid as. Just going for a bit of a wander here, seeing if around this corner here we might be able to see Percy Island. Not the clearest day, so don't know how it'll go. Be interesting to see what the sea's doing too. Always looks a little bit different from up high compared to the kayak. Alright, we've come out here just to, I wanted to see if I could see where I'm headed tomorrow. Sorry about the sun's very bright, I should put on my sunnies. After some looking, very faintly, to the due east, I can see what I believe to be Percy Island, or one of the Percy Islands. So, never going to see that from the water. It's going to be pitch black for a couple of hours anyway when I go in the morning, but always nice to confirm where you're going, even though the GPS and the maps will get you there. This little pass, I was actually thinking of coming through this morning, but decided to go the other way. Would have been a slightly longer lap. Not that I didn't have plenty of time, but great to get out here and have a look. Not a bad spot. Seas don't look too bad actually either. Have a look at the forecast just before, and it certainly hasn't got any windier, which is great. Not that it was ever particularly windy, but when you're heading straight into it, you don't need a lot to be a bit painful. So we'll see how we go tomorrow. The main thing is if it can stay, so I'm heading roughly east, and some of the forecasts have had the wind coming from the east, which will be straight on. I'm hoping it'll stick to the southeast, which the latest forecast suggests is more likely. It's certainly the direction it's coming from now.
unless it swings around. Just being that little, sort of 30 degrees or 20 degrees off going directly into the wind makes quite a difference actually. Should be a little bit easier. Not easy, much rather be going with it, but if we can stay like this it'd be quite good. Around here there's a few other islands as well, and I'm sorry I can't tell you what they are. I need to go check my map, which I've left back at camp, but there's tons of them. They're just everywhere you look, these little islands. There's so much to explore. The Whitsundays further north is an amazing place, really amazing place, and also full of islands, but there's almost as many down here I think. Maybe not quite as specky so far, but we'll see as we go on the trip. And there's the island. I should stand up where we're staying. It's alright. Yeah, so maybe I've been stuck on this little island, not a lot to do for too long, but these rocks are way cool in these cliffs. Hopefully that comes up, but it's really red. It's got this very deep red, I assume iron, like veining, and then contrasting with the strong white. Yeah, look at this. It's way cool. Almost looks like it's been painted. Eh. Planning to go very early again tomorrow morning. I'd like to make the most of the top of the tide and the outflowing tide. With a bit of luck I'll get most of the way, if not all the way, to Percy before the tide changes, and that'll just make life a hell of a lot easier, rather than having to push against it in that last bit. Now there is of course a chance that I won't get to Bushy Islet at all. Honestly, that's kind of disappointing. Plenty of other great things to see, but you set your mind to an objective, and you really want to get there. But most important thing is to not overdo the circumstances. If it is going to be blowing 25 knots in my window that I'm going to get through there, I think that's likely a bit too much. Should still be able to get there and keep going to Scorefell and get back in, but we'll see. So, good morning. About 10-12 kilometres in. Sun's just starting to come up, which is always nice. I think I had a bit of a kerfuffle in the dark trying to find my direction. It shouldn't be so hard, but when it's rainy and things are obscured and you're trying to pick the wind and yada yada. Anyway, all good. Didn't really waste much. I got a little bit upwind, which is what I wanted. Percy Island's roughly 40 kilometres this away that I'm heading now. Can't see anything for it yet, so trust the maps, alright? Yeah, no, we're right. Maybe as the sun comes up in another 10 kilometres or so, might be able to start seeing it peeking over the horizon, which is always a nice feeling. Winds are good actually, much better than I feared. As you can see, they're not as strong. They're a little bit on the beam too, which makes a massive difference. Not directly a headwind. And actually not too bad here, but sometimes there's a little bit of swell coming through too, and that just helps protect you from the wind, funnily enough. Bigger the swell in the wind, sometimes the better. So anyway, now I've just got to pump it out. I'd like to try to get pretty close before the tide change ideally, so let's see how we go. And there we have it. The sun rising directly over Percy Island. You probably can't make out the island in this light, this angle, but it is just directly under that sun coming up now. It's going to have to get the sunnies out in a sec. That could be a bit bright. Look at this. Gentle. It's barely 10 knots, I reckon. So this is exactly what I didn't want to deal with. Awesome fun if you turn around and go the opposite way, but going against it like this, it just sucks. It really sucks. You just got to grind, going slow, even if you're paddling half hard. It's not hard, and it's just a slog, absolute slog. That's what's hard about it. It's not fun. Anyway, I think I'm about 25k in, so maybe halfway. Starting to touch wood, look a little bit more doable. So yeah, if we can keep it up, maybe 2 more hours to get in. It's funny, it doesn't matter how long the trip, the last little bit always sucks. Always die in the arse, whether it was 20k or 100k, so I'll probably do that here as well. Nearly there. A bit slow now. Still a headwind, but we went in protection. Then I think the current's turned on me too a little bit, but yeah. Well, it's the morning after arriving at Percy Island, which I did yesterday. The paddle over was the slog in the end that I'd feared. The first maybe 10 or 15 k's was pretty good, and then of course the wind picked up and it was pretty much head on, so it was just a matter of grinding that out. But the tides were helpful. Still got here, I think it was about 1:30. And from there, sort of cleaned up, set up camp, and got to know the lay of the land a little bit. Nice scene last night, lots of yachties coming ashore and having dinner and a few drinks. And then slept like an absolute baby last night, found a hammock site, so out of the tent, which is good. And now just chilling today. There's a little bit of clean up to be done. Which is something that people do to help out around here, and then I'm hoping to walk over to White's Bay over the other side, which I think is a big like sand blow bay. The water's gorgeous, might sharpen the camera reasonably well. So this is the little A-frame Percy Hilton, and the main reason I'm here. Water, fresh water, the tank's overflowing, but come check this out, we'll go the back way. I think I've got some photos elsewhere. Fire pit, tables where everyone's comes in the evening and has some beers and something to eat. But then look in here, hopefully this sliding's alright. Crap everywhere. I shouldn't say crap. Every boat's encouraged to leave a little memento. I don't think I've really got anything to spare being in a kayak and a little bit more light on gear. But this is crazy. Even goes upstairs here. Check that out. One of the girls was in here yesterday and she spent 2 days looking for a nameplate of a yacht that she was aware was here somewhere from a friend. Couldn't find it. There's just so much to see. And the very rough view. If you got really good eyesight, I doubt you can see it. Just to the left, very slightly, of that little island way out in the distance is where I came from yesterday. Just on the horizon. I'm not going to show, but there it is. Amazing water.
The other thing that's interesting when you turn up to a little place like this and there's maybe a dozen boats moored offshore in the bay trying to get their protection, a few really impressive keen kayakers, or at least from past, even in that mix. So a couple which are friends of a friend, which I already knew, and they've paddled all around these islands as well together, which is really cool, and actually got a little bit of advice off them a little while ago on how to deal with some of the tides and some of the locations to go. And then another guy who's here is sailing through to Darwin, hopefully, and then maybe to Indonesia is his plan, with his son and a few others. He's done some crazy stuff, paddled up the Cape from Cairns, I think, to the tip. Some interesting both conditions and wildlife up that way. Paddled the east coast from Sydney to Brisbane, and yeah, it's done some really crazy stuff. So I've always understood there's a little bit of affinity between sea kayakers and yachties, because they're both sort of very of the sea type activities, more so I think than power boating or some of the other activities, because you're really driven by the winds, the tides, the conditions. But I guess from this little sample here at Percy Island, that rings to be true. Walking up to the Caretakers on Percy Island right now. This is the short track, a little bit steeper apparently. Something we see a lot on these tropical islands, and there was a ton just before, and of course as soon as I got the camera out, they've thinned out. These butterflies, there's two types here. There's this sort of blacky one with blue stripes all over it, light blue stripes, and more of an orangey one. Yeah, you'll see them by the thousands in some places. And the blue ones especially, it's not going to be much good for your camera, but trust me, they're all here. The blue ones especially, oh there's another type again, they cross from island to island in a big way, and you'll be in the middle of the ocean, nowhere. There's one, these guys. And flying low across the ocean, 50 kilometres from the nearest land, will be these butterflies. Some points of the year you just see streams of them almost, like all going the same way. I read somewhere that they navigate from island peak to island peak, but they can fly. They're not just, there he is, they're not just getting blown around by the winds. These things know what they're doing. So, ocean going butterfly, but there's a big cloud of them in here, and I guess they're just sort of resting up. That's the blue one. And there's, that one's cool. Don't see these guys out in the ocean, I usually see those ones I just showed you before. That's another one, nice light. Very cool. Alright, I think it's all uphill from now. Alright, we're at the top of the island, and this is the Homestead. Actually, I think there might be a couple of buildings up here. I'll give you a look. That is quite a setup. Now obviously fresh supplies aren't always the easiest to get out here, so that explains the extensive garden. Oh, lychees, more lychees, sugarcane, mangoes, bananas. It's a bit like a custard apple down the back. Yeah, check this out. The dude is staying here at the moment. Ralph's just down at the beach at the moment. I met him earlier. My challenge will be finding the way to White's Bay. Oh, there's the oranges. I had some of those before. And the grand old homestead. Said to Ralph, I'll duck in and help myself, right? Not quite. It's very impressive for all the way up here.
I don't think that's the drinking water. Very nice. Alright, here's our little scene at White's Bay on the other side of the island. This is usually the more exposed side of the island, so I guess, yeah, not so good for the yachties, not as protected unless they get a northerly. You might be able to see it, but I'll wave the camera around a little bit in a second. South Percy Island, just down there, and otherwise a very cool beach. Yeah, winds aren't too bad by the look of it. See how the forecasts compare. If it's like that on tomorrow and Friday, it's not too bad at all. That should be just great to run with. But nice walk over, quite varied actually, and amazing how high this sand goes. It's all over the island in patches, like the wind must over the eons blowing tons and tons of the stuff up over the place. But I'll give you a bit of a view. It's a little bit Fraser Island, Noosa, that sort of look. That fine sand. South Percy. And I think this might be called Dolphin Bay. Don't quote me on that. I think I just scared them away. The famous Percy Island Goats. Let's see if we can get them around the corner here. There you go. Plenty of these little islands, or certainly further north, have got goats on them. These Percy Island ones, they seem to treat as a bit of a feature. And I understand they slaughtered the odd one and stew it up down for the yachties. Might see some later. Anyway. Looking forward, forecasts currently easterly still, which is what I was dealing with yesterday, going straight into, and then in a couple of days going more southeasterly, which is what I'm after. But staying up again a bit higher, as I saw over on Poynter Island when I'm out at Penrith and the like, than I'd hoped. So I think running to Penrith on the same schedule, which is leaving to Pine Peak tomorrow and then go the following day, is on track. On Penrith, that day on most forecasts now look pretty windy, so I might just hang out in Penrith, see what I can do there, go for a snorkel maybe, and then the following day maybe go to Scorefell and
even hang out there for a day. The forecasters always get a bit more variable from there.